So the world of web is shifting, right? The world of web is completely shifting, and it's moving into this like AI space because well, you can do anything with AI, right? You can wash your dishes with AI nowadays, right? In the tech space, right? I remember when I was back in varsity, like the memory just came to me, and I was walking with three of my friends, and we were busy laughing about how we're making the AI so like our jobs will be replaced last and all this stuff. And that was such a joke, like looking back now, it's so funny because AI is like the first jobs it came for were like tech related jobs, and it just makes sense, right? Because I mean, it's inside the computer, so of course the first people it's gonna like shoot down is like the IT people. But we are here, and AI is here to stay, and that's something I've already dealt with. I've already mentally like accepted, and I think the whole world, for the most part, we've come to a level of homeostasis with AI, and we're using it because it's here and it works and it helps us, and it helps us with a lot of things, whether that's writing emails, whether that's making documents, whether that's formatting documents, right? Whether that's the applications are crazy, right? And the fact that there's so much digital real estate, right? Like people are basically living on their technology nowadays, right? Whether that's scrolling your phone or on your keyboard, God knows, but there's just so much applications for AI, and people are applying it. People are applying it, right? But right now, I'm talking about web design and how the entire landscape of web design is actually constantly shifting, right? It's shifting more than AI is being updated, right? And I think the reason why is because a lot of consumers, a lot of people that used to buy websites, right, are being sold this dream that you can make a website instantly. You can make a website just like that, right? Push of a button using this AI tool or that AI tool or that AI tool. Wix has this AI tool. Elementor now has an AI tool where you can build and da, right? And I think there is this encouragement, for lack of a better word, that you can just like fix all your digital problems, and you can easily get your digital real estate up without actually having the technical skills, the technical knowledge, and information is cheaper now, right? Because we have AI, so information's cheaper. And I think that is actually creating more problems than helping, right? And here's the reason why. I'll give you a quick analogy, right? If you are not a doctor and you go on AI and you look and you search up like symptoms that you're having, the AI can kind of predict what type of solution you might need, right? You can then go onto YouTube, look at that solution, or look at somebody else that has been through the same problem, and then you're like, okay, I'm probably facing this or that, and then you can go to a dentist, a dermatologist, a physiotherapist, whatever you might need to fix your problem, right? So there's like a little bit of like a barrier there of entry. There's a little bit of friction, right? Because you can't just you don't just know instantly, right? You need the knowledge, you research the knowledge, and then you go and you implement the knowledge, right? And you take correct action, right? That's what we're gonna call it for now. You have to take correct action. But when it comes to something that's a little bit more complex, let's say you're going through a court case, and then you have to now search all the acts and everything that has been done to you, and you have to learn all of the acts, and you're like, okay, this is what has been done to me, this is what has been done to me, this is what has been done to me. Then you have to put it in a document, and then you have to put it in such a way that the commissioner or the magistrate or the judge is going to have to be able to go through it in order. And then after that, you still have to get a legal representative to actually help you out with it, right? They have to help you out with it, even though you have the information, right? You still need someone else to come and help you out with it and say, hey, listen, okay, this is how we're going to present this. It's good that you know what you know and you know how your rights were infringed upon, but we still need someone to help you go up in front of the court and say, hey, this is what happened to me, right? So I hope you see where I'm getting with this, right? Now, when it comes to technical, when it comes to something really technical, such as app development, web development, right? You get to this point where you're like, hey, wait, look, now it's easier. I can just press this button and I have my app. I can just press this button and I have my development infrastructure, my digital real estate. I can have my web app. I can have my website. Boom, 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 and it's up there. Yes, right. True. Those tools are coming out, and I'm not discounting them. Don't get me wrong. Just keep following. Don't think I'm just saying don't get it, don't use it. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you an idea that you can use when choosing what you're going to do next, right? So what happens is people then look at IT now and they think, well, I can press this button and I can make the website. I need a website. I go to ChatGPT, I go to Gemini, I go to Claude, and I tell it what I need, and then it makes the website, this beautiful website, right? But the problem with this, right, there's fundamental problems with this, right, that I've just seen so many people run into, that I've run into myself, is that AI does not actually really understand English. It doesn't understand Afrikaans. It doesn't understand the language that you are speaking in. It doesn't fully understand it. Don't get me wrong. Yes, there is some comprehension, but it doesn't fully understand this. And why do I say this? Is because AI actually thinks in tokens, right? It thinks in tokens. So what does that mean? That means that AI takes what you say and then it goes through its own thinking process. It goes through its own thinking process, right? Where it breaks down all your words into characters. Then it takes those characters and combines those characters with characters that have been used in the past that are closer to each other, right? And, not to get too complicated, there's like different types of character, like different type of thinking models, right? There's word piece, sentence piece, and all of this like falls under it's byte parent coding. There it is. I know my stuff. I study the stuff. So it's byte parent coding, right? So basically there's these different ways that the AI thinks. It doesn't think the way you think, right? So why that is very, very important is because we have a lot of hallucinations that AI makes, and then that leaves us to have to think of how we're going to put guardrails on the AI to actually make sure it does exactly what you want it to do, right? I know with Claude, I truly believe there's very little guardrails. So Claude has this way of like just thinking sporadically because it's learning as you ask it questions, and that's why I believe that the tokenization system actually costs more when it comes to Claude, and that's why your tokens finish quicker. If someone that uses Claude, I'm sure you've noticed that you kind of run out of tokens very, very quickly. Like you run out of tokens. I mean, sometimes you can run out of tokens through like one word, like it's bad. Right, but I think that in future it will actually be better than all the others, and I think this is what Anthropic. I'm taking a tangent, but I genuinely believe that this is what Anthropic is actually planning. It wants to create a new tokenization system using Claude's model to actually build out this new byte parent coding like system, right? Which is going to be awesome in like 30 years from now. Who knows, maybe 20. But I assume that it's going to get better and better with time. Right now, it's really bad. So when it comes to AI in general, right, the issue is that it doesn't think like people. And because it doesn't think like people, that means it doesn't think like you. So when you say, hey, I wanted to do this and do this and do this and do this and do this, after a certain amount of explanations, right? So after a certain amount of instructions, right? The byte parent coding process, the tokenization system, the thought process of the AI starts to hallucinate. It starts to add characters that aren't supposed to be there. It starts to, like, this is just, I'm trying to bring this to people that don't understand this entire structure, and I'm trying to make it more like a way for you to think about this as you go forward. So let's say you want to build a one-page website, right? One-page website, you probably have a little bit of characters there, boom, 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 that's great, and then your website's done, right? But let's say you want your organization to keep on growing, and because the digital space is constantly growing, you want the website to grow with that, right? What's going to happen is you're going to do this little website, and then next month you're going to have to make it a little bit bigger, and then 2 years from there you're going to have to make it a little bit bigger. And because you've lost the context from when you first made it, right, there's going to be hallucinations throughout. And then what's going to happen is, as time goes on, your website will start to have different types of problems that many people are just not ready for, that you are definitely not ready for, right? So there's that is an issue. There's a very, very big issue. So that's why even myself, as a web developer myself, I rarely use AI tools. Now, I'm not saying that I don't use AI tools, because that's stupid. And if you're a developer out there, use the tools. I'm just saying I rarely use them for the things that I already know how to do myself, right? Only when I get stuck or I get put into certain boxes, then I might ask a question related to the problem, see if I can do it myself. If I can't do it myself, then I might find, etc., etc., etc. But for the most part, I just basically ask things that I need to be done, that I can do, and then I do them, so that when something goes wrong, then I can go and fix it, because I know exactly where it is. I know exactly what made that process, right? And that's the biggest thing that's happening now, that's really, I think, affecting a lot of customers. Because now, what do you think as a customer? You think to yourself, hey, now that I can make a website at a push of a button, which I deny all of that. I do not think that you can. But now that they marketing to me that I can, then doesn't that mean that I don't need web developers anymore? I don't need people to study that, right? We don't need people to work in that field. And even if someone does come to me, I don't understand why they're charging me this much. Why are you charging me this much, right? And that actually brings me back to a story that I was speaking with one of my friends who is a marketing agent in a different company, and I was speaking to him, and he was telling me that, he was asking me, like, why, Jordan, why do you pay so much to cut your hair? Because I actually pay way too much to cut my hair, to be honest. Like, it's 150 Rand, which, like, in South Africa, for those who aren't in South Africa, is quite pricey. You can find it cheaper in other places. But the reason why is because when I go and cut my hair, I sit down, and there's an amazing chair. Like, the chair is the most comfortable chair I've seen in my life, right? I sit down, and then the guy spends like 1 hour just on this side. He spends 1 hour. He has like 10,000 clips in a line, and he like clips it onto his razor, and he goes at it, and it's like he's counting the hairs as they fall, and then he goes all the way around, and then they give me coffee, and I have bottomless coffee. I can ask for thousands of coffees, and then there's someone beautiful on the side that I can have conversations with, and I have conversations. I'm drinking coffee. The guy's spending hours on my hair, and to be real honest, sorry for that. To be really, 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 really honest, I don't need all that stuff. I don't need all that stuff, right? But there's a level of understanding that there are certain people that just want the best, and there's certain people that don't care whether they have the best or not, That's number one, right? So this is one reason why I'm not saying to people do not use the AI to make websites. I'm just saying that there's certain people that when they go and cut their hair, they want their hair cut and they want to leave, and that's completely fine. When I cut my hair, I want to sit down and I want to drink coffee, and I want the guy to spend 1 hour making sure that everything here looks perfect, making sure that everything here looks perfect, making sure that everything at the back looks perfect, and making sure that my hair is washed, making sure that there's nothing going on. If there's anything that's happening in my hair, he will instantly report it and say, hey, there's something going on in your hair, right? And that's and he washes everything that he uses straight after. Everything's clean. I'm not going to get bacteria from the next person or the next person. But that's because that's just my standard. So to some degree, it's a standard issue. And that's fine if that's not your standard. I'm never going to say that, right? I'm never going to push a standard onto somebody, right? But that's just my standard. The next thing is, when it comes to building out websites, I had another friend who is an owner of this company, and we were speaking on making an application, and he has one of his employees who came to him, and he had an AI app, and the employee came up to him and said, hey, I've made this AI tool. And this friend of mine, he said one of the smartest things I have heard a business owner say in like years. And what he said was, hey, look, yes, you've made this amazing application, right? And this application helps us maintain everything in the warehouse. It helps us note down every single tool that we have, every single thing that we have can now be placed here. And when something gets missing, then we can instantly note that something got missing, and everything here is good. But who's going to manage the security? Because we also have a lot of private things that we don't want people to know that's here, right? Not illegal, for those who are thinking that, not illegal, but private things. There's certain things that we don't want people to know are in the warehouse, right? What if somebody hacks into the system? Are you going to fix it? Are you going to get the AI to fix it? How is the AI going to know that it needs to be fixed? Yes, the AI can put certain guardrails, but like, what happens when something really, really bad happens? Who do we blame? Do we blame the AI, or do we blame you? Like, what's going on? Like, at the end of the day, what this thing, which is an amazing solution that you've created, right? You've actually created the opportunity for basically another job for somebody else to manage that now. So now somebody else has to come in and manage what you just built, which is great. Thank you for the application. And till today, from what I understand from the last time I heard from him, they actually are using the application. But they had to hire somebody else to actually manage it, because it's a great tool. But how do we make sure it's secure? How do we make sure that everything is working on it, right? And I remember back then he was very on the fence and was like, okay, that scares me. Right? Because when you're actually dealing with certain things that need certain level of security, certain level of understanding, certain level of authority over them, right? Then you're gonna need to get somebody else to do it for you, right? What's the point of having a manager in a company? I'm gonna end off with this. What's the point of having a manager in a company? The point of having a manager in a company is so that he can manage what the other people are doing. He doesn't really do much. He helps with meetings. He helps make decisions. He helps with the thought process of what's happening in the business. But essentially, he has to manage what's happening with the people below him. And if something happens that, like, to his division or to the section at which he's managing, then you're not going to go to the people below him and give them a hard time. You go to the manager and say, hey, what happened, right? So what's happening now is that AI is replacing the low-level things, the low-level tasks, right? But when something goes wrong, you can't yell at the AI. And I'm not saying that you should yell at people, and I'm not saying that people should be yelled at, for those who are listening who really think that yelling is a fun thing. But I mean, who do you complain to? You're going to end up at the end of the day needing somebody come there and say, hey, okay, listen, this is what's happening, that's what's happening, this, like, what's going on. And if you, like, for those who are like, okay, I'm gonna build an AI system and then maybe years later I'm gonna get somebody else to manage it. If you build this entire website using AI and you then later get somebody to manage it, he's gonna have to understand deeply what this AI did. And God knows what AI is doing, right? You must remember, when you're building a business, there's different tools, there's different languages, there's different CMSs, there's so much different, like, things that come together to make that. And when you just tell an AI to do it, it does its own thing. It does its own thing. It doesn't follow. There is no structure. There are no guardrails on the AI. And because there's no guardrails on the AI, when somebody else comes in and says, hey, what is this AI doing? Oftentimes, you're going to have to pay that person to destroy everything that the AI did and rebuild it from scratch, just so that he understands it well enough to manage it. And I think that's like a very big problem, right? Because that's just something that is destroying, it's demotivating people from schools to continue studying web development. It's putting harsh pricing impact on web developers who are already in the system, who are already helping businesses, and now businesses are questioning them as to why they can't just use AI. And it's also lying systematically and giving false promises to clients, right in the center, telling them that, oh, all your dreams can happen at the click of a button. And that's not true, right? Now, I'm not saying don't go get an AI, do what you want. I'm just saying, here's some information for you to think about, and thank you. Goodbye.